Hey Meisner makers, it is Wednesday, 1 o'clock. You know what that means. It is time for our workshop Wednesday at 1. And today we have with us Dara, who is going to take you through stitching out some home decorator pillows using your Baby Lock Triumph. Now, what she's going to show you today is not specific to the Baby Lock Triumph, so a lot of what she's going to cover you'll be able to replicate on another brand or model machine. So you will want to either give us a call or reach out by way of email at info@meisnersewing.com if you have questions about compatibility for some of the feet, accessories, or techniques that she's going to share with you. Now, Dara is going to give you lots of information. She's going to take you through this step by step, but there will be times when Dara is not going to be at your home unless, well, are you available, right? Like for house calls?
Not for right now.
Okay, not for right now. So during those times, if you are a Triumph owner or the owner of another Baby Lock model machine, there are some great books that are out there and available to help you get the most out of your machine. This is the Triumph Inspiration Guide, and right now we are including this with Triumphs. If, as you see Dara stitching through, you want to be just like her, let us know, and we'll hook you up with both the machine and the Inspiration Guide. And since she is not willing to come to your house all the time, every day, 24 hours, we also, with the Baby Lock Triumph, do have something called Love of Knowledge. And this is a subscription-based program to online tutorials. So it is like having Dara at your disposal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for, in this case, 2 years. What could be better than that?
4 years.
4 years. 4 years would be better, or really having you at their disposal for all of that time frame. So that's something, if you have questions about as well, email us at info@meisnersewing.com. So Dara, do you want to give our makers at home just a little quick overview of where we're going, and then we'll start the stitching?
Yes. So we're going to make a quick and easy pillow today. And I'm not going to make the wrap, but the idea behind making the pillow is that you will have different wraps that you can take off and put on and change your pillow up with just having the one pillow. So I really like that. This one's a Christmas one up here. It's got 2 different wraps right now, so you can see those. But I really like being able to do these pillows. We're going to put in a zipper on the one I'm going to show you today. But if you want to make them quicker and easier, you can do an envelope back so that it's easy for you. And then you just put your little wrap on. This wrap was done on a cutting machine. So you can use your cutting machine.
I love that. And so we'll get a close-up for you after a bit to show. It's just a beautiful metallic that's used around the edge of that applique. It's really pretty.
So it's the applique. This one up here, I'm going to show you the wave stitch that is done on the Triumph. I love using the wave stitch for anything that I possibly can to finish off. If I'm making sundresses, I will use them at the top and at the hem so that I don't have to do anything else. And then embroidery. So you can use all of your machines to make these pillows. They are really quick and easy, and I hope you will enjoy them. I know many of our people they're afraid of their sergers.
Don't be afraid of your serger.
Don't be afraid of it. If I have not broken it yet, then not a problem. So come on down. I'm always glad to help if I'm in the store or if I can help you in any way. You know, I'm here to help you use your machines to the best that you can. So,
are we ready to stitch?
We are.
All right, Cameraman Joe, we are ready to stitch.
What you need for the pillow today is going to be a zipper. Most of my zippers are about 18 to 20 inches long. You always need a longer zipper than what you're going to make. Always, always, always make sure you open and close them a couple of times to make sure the zipper really works, because we've had events before where that did not happen. So we need a zipper. And then I decided to make a smaller pillow today, so I used 2 pieces of a layer cake that are 10 by 10 squares. I cut one of them in half, which is going to be my half for putting the zipper in. When we use the serger, a couple of different things. one of the things I really love about the Triumph is the presser foot lifter is over to the side here, but the Triumph will not sew if you don't have the presser foot down. So if any of you have ever sewn before and left your presser foot up and you get that mess, it's because you haven't put your presser foot down. I do highly recommend that you test all of your stitches. For today's class, I have set up for a 3-thread overlock. So on your reference threading guide, it gives you the information for a 3-thread overlock narrow. Because I'm using the O2 needle, which is the right needle closest to the fabric or the cut knife. It's telling me I need a stitch length of 2 to 4. I typically use a stitch length of about 2.5 for sewing. It says a stitch width of 3. I've put mine at 3.5. Your stitch selector is at B, and gives you all the information. And then what I really like is it's showing you how to thread. So if you're ever confused, follow the threads down so that you can get that to the point where you want it to be. And then, like I said, always test, test, test. So let me test right now. Like I said, I'm on a 3.5 stitch width. If you get confused about the baby lock buttons, the little one, we call it the little bitty one, so it's for the stitch width. The large one is for stitch length. So L and L will go together. Raise my presser foot. I'm going to push my fabric back to my needle. And typically when I'm sewing, when I'm serging, I will just line up my fabric with the edge of the guide here. I'm going to go back to the edge of the blade. And then I'm just going to serge down to test. So I've got a raw edge. I want to trim off just a bit as I go down so that it makes a nice even stitch. Come out and then cut your thread here. And there we've got a nice stitch for a 3-thread overlock stitch. So we're ready to go. So right now I have the BL foot, which is the regular serging foot for baby lock. We're going to change that. So to change that foot, we're going to push the little button in the back. It drops it down, pull it off to the left. We are going to use the cording foot to put our zipper in. So the cording foot has an actual guide right here that our zipper is going to land in. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put that foot on. And this way. There we go. Lower it down. And that foot is on. So like I said, I've cut one of my pieces in half so that I can put a zipper in. And all I'm going to do is open this up. I am going to put my zipper on. Let me raise my needle, put my foot in, pick it up off the floor. Anything you can't find, it's on the floor, I guarantee it. And so now what I'm doing is I'm putting the zipper in underneath the foot. I'm going to rest the zipper teeth right in the groove right here. And I am going to lower my needle onto that zipper. I'm going to take a couple of stitches. Oops. Of course it's not going to work, right? Because we're on camera. So if this happens, all I'm going to do is pull this out. Turn it off here. If I don't show you how to do something that needs to be fixed, then we haven't learned anything, right? Okay, so I'm gonna leave enough zipper back here because I've got a long zipper, and leave enough so that there's a tail back here, drop my foot down, and then I can take a couple stitches into that zipper to hold it down. Then I am going to, I think I'm going the wrong direction, but we'll do it this way. Typically, I would face my zipper the other way, but I can do it this way. I can feel that it's going to go in that groove right there. I'm going to take it up to my fabric, all the way up to the blade right here. And I'm going to just sew that in. Making sure I'm lined up. Then when I get here, what I'm going to do, oops, I got to come all the way into the fabric. And then I'm going to put my needle down. And trim that off. Okay, so now we've got our zipper right here. Now there's a couple of things you can do if you wanted to tack this down, you could. There have been times when I have used a 4-thread overlock, and that will put the fabric right here next to the teeth as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the other side. So what we're going to do is fold this fabric down, and what I want to do is I want to start my zipper or my fabric right here where this one starts. So I'm just going to put a little notch right here in the zipper, so that that's where I'm going to attach my fabric to start the next side. Actually, let me do it from this side and I'll show you the way that maybe like educators would remind me I'm supposed to be doing this. Okay. So now I'm going to do this. I am going to, again, start this. Now this time I've got my foot, or my teeth down, so you can see both ways. Putting my zipper in. Okay, I need to loosen my stitch. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the thread out here and pull my thread off of my stitch finger. There we go. So it's off so that I can get this in. So I've got my zipper facing down. Here's my little notch. Put this in. Okay, lower my presser foot. Drop my needle in, take a couple of stitches. So what I want to do now is I'm going to put my fabric underneath so that I have right sides together. I've got my notch right here. Oops, let's not do it that way because I will cut that fabric off. I'm just going to start right here. Notice I've lined up my notch with the edge of the fabric here. And as I sew, oops, let me grab my tail. So now you can see that your teeth are in the guide. pull that there. Okay, so now I have this zipper in. And there's my two sides with my zipper. Now, I'm off a little bit here because I didn't pin it. If I would pin it, it would be exactly where I wanted it to be. But we're on a serger, so we don't worry about that because we can always fix it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to use Wonder Clips, put my fabric together. So we know this side matches. And remember, we're sewing. It's a pillow. It is not, oh, that actually comes out pretty close there. I mean, it is a masterpiece, but it's a pillow. Don't get all worked up about it. Okay. So I've got my 4 places lined up. I'm going to change my foot back to the regular serging foot. Okay. There we go. Now we're attached. Before I start to sew around the pillow, I am going to, let's see, pick it up off the floor where it always is. I'm going to put a clip right there, and I'm going to take this clip and put it right here. Because now what I want to do is I need to open up my zipper at least halfway. And I can open it because I've opened up this side. And so I've got my zipper open. You do want to make sure that your zipper is open at least far enough that your presser foot and your needle are not going to hit that metal piece. Open up a little bit more. Okay. And my side that does not match is right here, so I can see that. Okay, so I'm going to start right here. Now, a couple of tips about serging. As we go around, you're going to have a tail. So I'm bringing the fabric right up to that knife blade. Knife blade is right here and it's up. So put it up to there, drop my presser foot down. And again, I'm just using my edge of my machine as my guide. You can see that that's where I'm off. And there. So I'm just going to start to sew. I'm going to drop my needle in, raise my presser foot up here. I'm going to bring this tail all the way in front and underneath the knife blade so that as I sew, it's going to cut that off and serge it in. So I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to sew all the way down. So now I've got that tail. This tail here would get serged off and into the seam, so we don't have to worry about that one coming off. Serging is a little bit different than sewing when it comes to finishing because you do have to do something with your tails, and I'll show you about that, talk about that in just a minute. So again, I'm going to put my fabric in. Here's my presser foot. Hold that in front. there. So we've got 2 sides done now. So we're done there. If I am on the wrong stitch. I thought I had done B and it got bumped down. Okay, so now doing the same thing again. Bring it up to the knife blade. So a couple on there. Bring the tail across. And under the blade. Okay, now here we are with the back side. Probably should have put it on top, but I would have to plan. And if you know me, you know I don't do that well. Okay, so I'm trimming off a little bit more here. So I'm just going to come across there. And we can go directly across the polyester or nylon zipper, not a metal zipper. I'm just going to hold those together as we go across there. Okay, so we've got 3 sides done now, and we're ready for our last side. Okay, oops, I should have made a longer tail. And that, Meisner Makers, is how to make a little pillow. Now, I did not leave a very long tail here, but what I typically will use, you need to weave this tail in over here. A couple of different things you could do. You could use fray check to just drop a glop right here. That will dry, and then clip it after it's dry. My favorite is the tapestry needles because they have large eyes. And that's what I'm going to use to see if it'll work. So I'm just going to thread this through the eye. The needle here. Now I'm still going to use fray check or fray block. I'll explain the difference of those in a minute. I'm just going to take this tail down the back side underneath my stitches. And it doesn't make any difference how far you go. I just kind of drag it in and then pull that tail in. Figure out which one we'll pull. Side pulls out, put my needle away, and then before I ungather all of this, what I will typically do, use fray check. When it dries, it will dry hard. Fray block will dry soft. So if I'm doing baby items, I typically prefer the fray block. The difference is this fray check requires no prep. Fray block does. It requires that you heat your water, let it sit in the water for, I forget how many minutes, 3 minutes, and then shake for 30 seconds. Now the problem that I run into is this is a metal tube that gets hot, but like I said, it dries soft, so I do it. So before I pull my threads out over here, I'm just going to drop fray check on it there, and then I can pull it back, and then I can trim that a little bit later after it dries. But here's our pillow. And then you can fancy up your pillow any way you want. This one I thought this is about the perfect size for some of the Kimberbell Bench Buddy pillows. So if you've done classes with me on those, you know that that's about the right size pillow for that. You can, like I said, do a top stitch on the zipper side. You can do a top stitch on the outside. You could use piping because we've got the P5 foot, which is a cording foot, to do piping around the outside. This is the easiest piping ever. You do need to cut on the bias because it makes it easier to go around the corners. But if you put your, use a little bit of glue to glue your piping in at the edge, leave a little bit of your piping out, and then you just use your serger to sew that down. Works great. So there you have it. Let's see, what else did I have to show you? Oh, that's all I had to show you. Here's some of the colorful Wonder Clips. I love these things. Use them a lot. So there's your quick and easy pillow, and then you just make your pillow wraps. This one is one, this was out of the Luminaire. It says Merry Christmas. All you need to do once you get your embroidery on is you can trim it. You can either trim it with a wave stitch, and I'll show you that in just a minute, or just roll it under and stitch it. So you have a top stitch, sew it in the middle, and then you can wrap it around your pillow. Oops, knocking all the pillows down. This wrap has a, let's see, go this side. This wrap has a wave stitch. The wave stitch is on several of the Baby Lock machines, and like I said, I use this a lot. So it goes up and down. I've actually used a 12 weight thread in here that was sparkly, and that's my favorite thing to use for the wave stitch. This was just an extra piece that I used the thread to wrap around the bow and make it a bow there. So there you go. Pillows, quick and easy, and a pillow wrap. So here's the little pillow we just made from a 10-inch layer cake with our zipper in the back and all ready to go. And then you can make little pillow wraps. You could do a piece of embroidery on there. Again, like I said, perfect for the little Bench Buddy Kimberbell pillows. Different types of finishes for your pillows. This one has piping because we use the cording foot for making or putting the zipper in. You would do the same thing with piping. I do about a 2-inch wide piece of fabric, whatever size cording I'm going to do. Put a little bit of glue stick, didn't bring one of those with me, but glue in to hold your piping in so that you can sew it down. Make it so that you have a wide piece so that as you sew it down later, then you have your cording. Another finish is, this one has the wave stitch right here at the top and the bottom. That is one of my all-time favorite stitches for just about anything. I love using that stitch. And then this is the pillow we did with the cut machines where it's applique on the back side. So the applique was cut with the cutting machine, and then cutting machine to cut the glitter to finish off the applique. So you have different ways to finish your pillows, change your wraps out, and you have a whole different pillow. Thank you very much.